One place to produce sandbags is at the factory. So if we come to the factory with basic materials in our truck and we open up the factory by pressing E, in the production panel, we go to the tools category, which looks like the wrench icon. And if we hover over the sandbag icon, we can see that 15 basic materials will produce one crate that contains 5 sandbags. So sandbags in the factory are dirt cheap. It will only cost us 60 basic materials to make 4 crates. The 4 crates will take 1 minute to produce. So to make those 4 crates, we simply click on the play button and that will start producing the sandbags. When the order is ready, we can see that the red cross icon turns into a green checkmark icon. We can click the green checkmark icon and that will put the 4 crates of sandbags into our truck. While they are in the crates, we cannot use the sandbags. For that, we have to submit them to a stockpile and pull them out one by one. We can find stockpiles in forward operating bases, town halls, relic bases, and border bases. To use the sandbags, we come to a base with a stockpile. We press E to open it up, and in the bottom left, where the inventory of our truck is, we right-click on one of the crates of sandbags and we click Submit All to Stockpile. We can see that that put 4 crates of 5 sandbags into the stockpile, so 20 in total. And now we can retrieve them by simply shift clicking and that will pull them into our truck. Or if we are on foot, we can come on foot, press E to open the base and simply click on the sandbag and that will start assembling the sandbag. While we are on foot, if we tab out, we can see that this is a large item and therefore it is carried over the shoulder. Now let's put it into the truck by pressing a V. That will submit it to the truck. Another way of getting sandbags is at a materials factory with an assembly bay upgrade. To get the assembly bay upgrade, we come to the materials factory and if we press E to open it, at the right side of the upgrades menu, we can see the assembly bay and that will cost us 50 basic materials. So if there is 50 basic materials in the inventory of the materials factory, we can simply click the assembly bay icon and that will start modifying the structure. Once we are done modifying, we can see that the model changed. If we press E to open the materials factory again, we can see that the assembly bay gave us 2 new recipes. We can see that one recipe will turn a 25 salvage into a 1 construction material and 5 sandbags. So to make sandbags, we turn on the recipe of these sandbags, which is not working right now. And that is because we are not powered, nor do we have salvage. So we grab our truck, drive up towards the materials factory, press E to open its menu. In the bottom left, we can see the inventory of our truck and we can see that we have a lot of salvage here. We can simply right click and say submit all to stockpile. And in the stockpile of the materials factory, we can see that there is now 1.5k salvage. We come to the diesel power plant over here. We press E to open it up. We click the switch behind the diesel icon and this will start up the diesel power plant so it starts delivering power, as we can see in the power menu on the right. We can see that the diesel power plant is now working, and if we come to the materials factory, we can see that it is working on this recipe. So over 25 seconds, the 25 salvage will be turned into 1 construction material and 5 sandbags. Those will be deposited in the stockpile of the materials factory. So we can grab them by simply left clicking. I will start assembling and we will have them on the shoulder. Or if we hop into the truck, press E to open the materials factory and we shift click on the sandbag icon in the stockpile, we can see that we are assembling 3 at a time. Besides transporting sandbags in your truck, you can also transport them on a pallet. So if we come to the pallet over here with a crate of sandbags in our backpack and we press E to open it up and we right click on the crate of sandbags in our inventory, we can left click on the submit all to stockpile and that will put sandbags into the stockpile of the pallet. We can also drive up to the pallet, but be sure to have something in the inventory of the pallet already, because otherwise you will break the pallet. But if you're close, you can press E to open it up. And if we right click on the crates of sandbags, I can say submit all to stockpile, and that will submit all the crates of sandbags into the material pallet. To place a sandbag wall, we make sure that we have a sandbag equipped. So we press E to open our truck and we click on one of the sandbags. We are now carrying one of the sandbags. And we can see that in the top left as well, Sandbag build mode. So if we press B to open the build menu and we are in the defense category, we can see that our first option is the sandbag cover and that it will take 3 sandbags. To start placing it, we simply left click on the sandbag cover icon. That will put the blueprint of the sandbag cover wall underneath our mouse cursor. We can change the orientation of the sandbag cover wall by holding down the right mouse button and turning our mouse. That will rotate the beginning point of our sandbag wall cover. To start placing it, we simply left click so it fixes the starting point of our sandbag wall, and we can hold down the right mouse button to change the angle of the end point. If we are happy with the angle of the end point, we can use the scroll wheel to increase or decrease the curvature of the sandbag wall. So if we scroll up, we get a high curvature. If we hold down the right mouse button and change the orientation of the endpoint a bit more, we can make a half circle. We then simply left click to place the blueprint, walk up to the blueprint and left click, and that will submit the sandbag into the blueprint. Now, if we want to continue this sandbag wall, we can do that by equipping another sandbag. And if we press B to open the build menu and select the sandbag cover. If we get close to our existing sandbag cover, we can see that it snaps. If we don't want our new sandbag wall to snap, we can hold down the shift key and that will disable snapping. Releasing the shift key will turn it back to snapping. A left click will start our sandbag wall again, and holding the right mouse button, we can change the orientation of the endpoint of the sandbag wall. Again, scrolling up will increase the curvature, scrolling down will decrease the curvature of the sandbag. And if we are happy with what we made, we can left click, that will place the blueprint. We walk up to the blueprint and left click to submit a sandbag. Another option with the sandbags is if we equip another sandbag, so we are carrying it and we are in build mode, we come up to the sandbag wall that already exists and we press F to go into upgrade mode. And in the bottom left, we can see that it says press E to upgrade to sandbag wall. If we now press E, that will increase the height of the sandbag wall and make it a blueprint again. We can then left click to submit the sandbag. We can place a low sandbag wall behind a high sandbag wall, and if we finish that and we climb on top of it with our pistol out and we make sure that we are reloaded, we climb on top of the lower sandbag wall and we aim out over the high wall, we can see that we can shoot over the high wall. We come to the other side of the sandbag wall and we try to aim, we can see that the sandbag wall is actually blocking our shooting. Now, to use sandbags of a material pallet, we can just simply walk up to it until it says in the bottom left, press E to use material pallet. And instead of pressing E, we can simply press a V. That will assemble the thing that is on the pallet onto our shoulder. As we can see, it is a sandbag. And now if we press a B to open the build menu, we can start building a sandbag cover like this. So as a fast way of building things, we can walk up to the pallet, press V to assemble one of the sandbags, and then walk up to our blueprint and left click to submit it into the blueprint. To get rid of a sandbag wall, we cannot equip our hammer and go into upgrade mode, because if we do that and we aim at, for instance, the high sandbag wall and we press E, we can see that we cannot go into upgrade mode to take it down or to demolish it. For that, the easiest way is to just use a truck, and we can use the truck to drive over a sandbag wall. And if we do that, it will demolish the sandbag wall. And while we demolish it, it will drop sandbags on the ground. So if we run over all the walls that we made earlier, and we get out of the way and we come towards the sandbags, we can press V to pick them up and put them back into our truck. Sandbags can also be placed on trenches and bunker pieces. So if we want to place it on this trench over here on one of the edges, with the sandbag over our shoulder, we press F to go into upgrade mode and we aim at the trench until we see the hammer icon with the build info. We then press E to open the upgrade menu, and in the upgrade menu we can see that in the end of the upgrade menu is the sandbags icon. If we hover over it, we can see that there is a blueprint of a sandbag wall on the edge of the trench. If we want to change the location of where we are going to place the sandbag, we can use the scroll wheel. So if we scroll up, we can see that it will change the location of the sandbag. And on the long edge of a trench, there are 3 spots where you can place sandbags, and on the edges there is just 1 spot. So if we want to place it on the long end, we make sure that we see the blueprint where we want it. We left click and that will start modifying the structure. Once we are done modifying the structure, we can see that the model changed and that there is a sandbag wall on the edge of our trench now. If we escape out of this menu and we equip our pistol and we hop into the trench and we aim out of the trench, we can see that we can aim and shoot out here. But as soon as we get to the sandbag wall, we can see that our shooting line is blocked. Trench connectors have less options for sandbag walls. So with a sandbag over our shoulder, if we press F to go into upgrade mode and we aim at the trench connector, press E to open the build menu. In the upgrades menu, in the end, again, is the sandbag option. And if we scroll, we can see that we only have 2 options, which is the 2 long sides of the trench connector. So having sandbag walls on the short edges of a trench connector is not possible. Also, the long side of a trench connector only has 1 spot for sandbags, but it will always stretch the entire length of the long side of a trench connector. So if we want to place the sandbag wall, just as with the normal trench, we simply left click on the icon if we see the blueprint in the place where we want it. That will start modifying the structure, and once we are done modifying, we can see that there is a sandbag wall here. To remove sandbags from a trench, we need to equip our hammer by pressing 1. And if we press F to go into upgrade mode and we aim, for instance, here at the trench connector and we press E to go into the upgrade menu, if we hover over the sandbag icon, we can see in the drop down that it says right click to remove modification, and it will cost us 20 basic materials. Then scroll up until the blueprint overlaps the existing sandbag wall on our trench connector, and we then simply right click to remove it. We can see that we are now modifying the structure. When we are done modifying the structure, we can see that the sandbag wall that existed on the trench connector is now gone. We can also make sandbag walls on top of our bunker pieces. For that, we equip a sandbag and we walk up to a bunker piece. Now, if we come to a tier 1 bunker piece and we press F to go into upgrade mode, we press E to open the upgrade menu, we see that there is no option to place sandbags. If we come to the tier 2 bunker pieces over here, however, and we press E to go into the upgrade menu, in the upgrade menu, we can see that there is a sandbag option. And just as with the trench, if we scroll up and down, we can change the location of the sandbag wall on the bunker piece. Sandbag walls on top of bunker pieces can only be placed on the outsides of a bunker piece. So where the 2 bunker pieces, the normal bunker piece and the corner piece, connect with each other is a place where we cannot place a sandbag wall. To place a sandbag wall on top of a bunker piece, we do the same thing as we did with the trench. We simply left click and that will start modifying the structure. And once we are done modifying, we can see that there is a sandbag wall on top of the bunker piece. Now, if we hop onto the bunker piece, we equip our pistol and we aim out, and we can see in the middle of our screen that we are in full cover. If we go to the side over here, we can see that we have no cover at all. We can do the same thing with the corner piece. So we grab a sandbag. With the sandbag over our shoulder, we press F to go into upgrade mode. We aim at the corner piece. We can press E to open the upgrade menu. In the upgrade menu, even on the corner piece, we have the sandbag option. If we scroll up and down, we can see that there are more options to place the sandbag walls. And that is because the small pieces of the corner piece will also be covered by a sandbag. So to place it on the short end over there, we can simply left click and and that will start modifying the structure and will give us another sandbag wall. To remove sandbags on top of bunker pieces, it works the same as with trenches. Press F to go into upgrade mode, aim at the bunker piece, press E to open the upgrade menu, hover over the sandbag icon, make sure that the blueprint overlaps with the existing sandbag wall on top of the bunker piece, and simply right click to remove the sandbag wall from the bunker piece.